Hello, you lovely lot, and welcome to the Independent Spouse podcast. I'm Jess Sands, founder of The Independent Spouse and current military wife running my own business, Design Jessica, from our Marrie Quarter. Each week, I'll be bringing you inspiring interviews that go behind the scenes of an amazing business, charity or project created by someone also living the military life. It's the stories of inspirational men and women who experience service life from the home front while building a successful business, and it aims to showcase a community who until now have been in the shadows. I hope that it gives a voice to those who are already achieving amazing things and inspires you if you dream of doing the same. Today I'm talking to the wonderful Amy Nolan from Ginger Rainbow. Amy is a creative business owner who produces her colouring in gifts, cards and illustrations from her Marrie Quarters in Oxfordshire. Inspired by military life, her colouring in pillowcases sprung from an idea that she had whilst her husband was deployed to Afghanistan. Since then, the idea has grown into a fully-fledged business, and more recently, she has created the Wings Doodle Boxes with the Royal Air Force Association, and her cards have even been published by a national greetings card company. This episode is full of handy business tips and inspiration. She's a brilliant creative with enough energy to bottle, and I am so proud to say that she is also a very great friend. I hope you really enjoy this episode with my fab pal, Amy. Hello, Amy. It's so nice to see you today.
Yay! Hello, Jess. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. So, Ginger Rainbow, I love Ginger Rainbow. But if anybody hasn't heard about you, could you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yes. So, Ginger Rainbow is very simple, really. It's happy, fun colouring in products for children and families. Most of the time, you will see that on pillowcases, but there are some colouring in books, some colouring in cards, occasionally bags, just something that you can colour in and be creative. And it's very simple, very cute, very happy. That's it, really. Nothing really complicated.
And they're brilliant and I love them. And you must work so hard on getting them created. So I also run a creative business. And when I first started out, I really struggled to work out the link between how I could turn my sort of creative side into a business. So what first prompted you to start, and where do all those amazing ideas come from?
I would say, so the true start was probably almost 10 years ago when I was working in the NHS it was like a care team. And one of the nurses I worked with said to me, listen, I've got about 10 godchildren and I've got to do loads of Christmas presents. Could I just buy a load of t-shirts and could you just like draw stuff on them and then I'll give them as presents to my godchildren with some fabric pens and they can colour them in. And I said, yeah, all right, that's fine, I'll do that. So I did that and I sort of fixed the colours in and I sent them off and she was really happy and all the godchildren were really happy. And I was like, oh, that's a really cute idea. And the idea every few years came and surfaced back up and I thought, I wonder if I could do anything with that. And then it died back down again. And then more recently, it resurfaced when I moved to quarters with my husband just after we got married. And going to my job was just becoming impossible in terms of commuting. I'd been trying to find another job nearer to the base, which was sort of the thing that I'd been doing, and I wasn't really having any luck with that. I'd been applying for stuff that was sort of below my pay grade just because I wanted to work and just was having not a lot of luck. I'm feeling a bit fed up with it all, to be honest. And so I was talking to my husband one night and he said, well, what do you really want to do? And I said, well, I guess it always comes back to the fact that I have always wanted to make money out of my creative skills. And I know that I've got creative skills and I love drawing. I love being creative. I love helping other people be creative and showing them it doesn't have to be too difficult. And I love doing that. And he said, well, do that then in the classic military way, do that. And so it was like, okay, well, I've got a couple of years. He said, you've got a couple of years, see what you can make happen. And, you know, we're living in quarters for a few years, see what you can do with the time, the fact we're living here, and just go for it. So that's what I did. I sort of went from it being an occasional thing. I'd done a few markets and always sold really well. I probably hadn't priced my things very well, if I'm totally honest, but people liked the look of what I did. And I think that was the important thing. I sort of knew there was enough there to do something with it. So I became self-employed, I handed my notice in, became self-employed. Big scary moment after, over 12 years working in the NHS. I'm not like the world's most likely entrepreneurial self-employed freelancer out there. So it was a bit of a moment. It definitely wasn't a wow, you get to work in your pajamas every day and it's all just so easy, and drinking coffee and occasionally smashing out some best-selling stuff, as the internet would have you believe. I slowly got rid of that fantasy, definitely, very quickly. And I just went from there. So I just started designing stuff that I thought children would like to colour in, really, and it's just gone from there.
And obviously I first spotted you when you were doing your deployment pillowcases, which I thought were fantastic. My husband was out in Afghanistan back in, it must have been 2012. And he didn't have any pillowcases. So I actually sent him some and I wrote little love letters inside, and we still have them. But they weren't even slightly as creative as yours. And yours include the whole family. So they are my favourites of all of your products, I think, so far. So you must be really proud of them.
I am really, really proud of them. I love them, actually. And I love that it came from a combination of, again, my husband asking me to send him some pillowcases when he was out in Afghanistan. And then a lady on the camp I was on at the time saying, I want to send my husband something that shows how our little ones started colouring in now, and I can't think of anything. Have you got anything? And then that was when those two ideas collided together, colouring in on a pillowcase, and the person on the other end can enjoy it and feel happy, and the person sending it can make it, and it's a lovely thing to do. So I am really proud, and I get such lovely feedback from people really randomly that comes into my Facebook inbox where they just say, I just want to say thank you for this, and I actually had sat and had a cup of tea today and the kids were enjoying doing this, and thank you, and we really enjoyed it. They often talk about the small business happy dance, which allegedly is when you make a sale, isn't it? If you're on Instagram, you'll see that meme all the time. But my happy dance, really honestly, without any, being totally sincere, is when people send me those messages and when they tag me in pictures of their lovely creative children making something for their mummy or daddy who's away. And I just love it. It does make me very happy in that way. So I get a lot out of it.
Yeah, which is kind of the best part of being a business owner, is that, yes, you have to do the grafting and, yeah, you're always hustling and trying to get the next sale. But actually it's the feedback that actually makes so much difference. And it's just really nice to hear when your clients or your customers are giving you that sort of feedback. But you do workshops.
I do, yeah. I also do workshops at our local station for deployed families, which I love doing. We do, what did we do? We did a deployment heroes workshop and a I love you to the moon and back workshop, which are just like space theme or superhero theme or just various fun stuff that you can create with big giant colouring in and, make superhero capes and all kinds of cool stuff. And it's just lovely. And it's lovely getting to meet the kids and the families who I wouldn't always meet because, my stuff goes out and I don't always get to meet the people on the other end. So it's really nice to do that. And it's lots of fun as well, which is sort of the whole point, I think.
Yeah, and we are living in this community, so it's nice to sort of see that in real life and see how the families are using your products. That must be really lovely.
Oh, I love it. I do love it, genuinely.
And also, obviously, as you and I know, there is a massive community of military people running their own businesses, some from their married quarters, some from their homes, all over the world, all over the place. Are there any particularly that have inspired you, do you think?
Oh, lots and lots. I think what I would say, so when I first started investigating the whole, military spouse world of work and small business and things like that, I first came across Hella at Recruit for Spouses and got very sort of inspired by what she was doing. Obviously as well, Louise at Little Troopers, because of the wonderful things she's doing for families there. Then people like you, Jess, who have just given me so much amazing advice around how to brand my stuff. And then I would say all the women and men that I'm in this kind of military spouse community with, I'm inspired by, because they're doing things. They might be just starting up and they've got that passion and fire and they've got that energy. And on a day when I'm feeling a bit burnt out and rubbish, I see that energy coming across in their Facebook posts and I go, yes. I'll borrow some of that fire and that might just keep me going for the day. Or people who are kind of, I see as, we're on a similar journey at the same amount of time, and you just go, yeah, they're still going. People like there's just too many, I can't think of them all, but they're just everybody. I think if you want to wrap it up inspiring wise, I'm inspired by people that are doing things, and I think we're a community of doers, and we're a community of people who are just going for it, and that gives me lots of inspiration every day.
Yeah, and me too. And I know that for my own life is that I've always been a doer, and that's kind of how the military life is. You don't really get a choice about deployments, about where you move. You just kind of suck it up and crack on with it, which is why for me running my business is so important, because it's sort of a bit lonely here. And I move every couple of years, struggling to find friends. But I have this whole online world of all these business people who are doing their thing and they're rocking it. And sometimes we get to see a little bit of behind the scenes of what it's really like. But generally, it's just really inspirational. But we talk quite often on the phone, and we all know about how shiny social media is and how you don't really see the reality of running a business while you're trying to build one. And you've worked with mental health professionals in the past. Do you think for military spouses that actually running a business is quite important?
I would say that it's about what gives you meaning, and about what makes you is something that gives you a way to express yourself and create meaning in your life. So for some people, that's having the best job in the world that they love, for like a company they adore. They go in, they're appreciated, and they absolutely love it, and it gives them a really good feeling. For other people, and I think if you're struggling to get that job that you really want, self-employment is a really, really good thing to consider. Now, I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think you should force yourself into it if you're not really that way inclined. But really think, even if you do something on the side or you want to just experiment, I think it can really, really help you stay confident, stay connecting with people, stay practicing all those kind of social skills and professional skills and all that kind of thing. And I remember someone, like when I handed my notice in at work, they were kind of being a bit pessimistic about it. But they did say, and they said, well, I suppose the great thing is, it's something amazing to write on your CV, even if, you decide it's not for you and you go back and do something else. You've been using all your skills, you're learning all the time. And for me, if I hadn't been doing this, I think I would have found the last couple of years incredibly difficult, because I want to do something that I'm good at, and being self-employed is allowing me to do that, as opposed to doing anything that I can get my hands on. There's a difference between those two things. So for my mental health, it's been really good, because it's kept me, talking to people, because I live in the middle of nowhere and I can't drive. Double whammy. So it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Of, when the postman comes to the door and you just want to tell him everything that you've thought that day. So it helps me helps me sort of stay sociable, stay connected, which is huge for your mental health, being connected to other people. I love it, obviously.
It's true. And talking to the postman, my poor postman. But yes, you are right. But it's a really busy life running a business. You hand draw all of your products you hand draw.
I do hand draw everything. Pen and ink, old school, styly.
And then you throw in a bit of military life into that as well. You must be so busy. How do you find the time to do it all?
I think that sometimes it's prioritising, isn't it? And I get better at doing that. I sometimes go a bit cat on roller skates, trying to kind of manage everything, and then I just get a bit brutal about what is really important. What do you really need to do? So like faffing around, as I call it, on Facebook isn't necessarily an essential business task. Like, it's important to network, but things that are important to me if I'm short on time are making sure I've sent my invoices, making sure that I'm aware of what's going in and what's going out, and the critical things that need to happen in my business. So it's about being a bit brutal with my time sometimes, and I don't always get it right. Sometimes I don't get it right at all, but most of the time I just try and check in with myself, and that's how I do it, and just try and have fun along the way. That's what keeps me sane.
And also, you've got like a fantastic sense of humour, so that really helps with running a business. You need that. And my favourite part of Amy is that you have a second Instagram account that is your daily doodles, which are just hilarious and pick up on everyday life and is so relatable. And I don't know how you see the world and the way you do, and then create these amazing doodles that are just so funny.
Thank you very much. I guess that came about as a bit of did that for fun, really. That was for my own enjoyment to start with, because it just made me laugh, and I just thought, yeah, that'll be a bit of fun to do that on Instagram. That's kind of because the Ginger Rainbow stuff is very child based, it's all about child and family. I also wanted to kind of express my sort of the grown up sense of humour side of myself, and I thought Instagram was a fun place to do that. So I started doing these doodles, and then as a bit of a punt, I sent them off to a publisher and ended up getting published, which was just amazing. So I sell them now as well, the cards. So I guess what I'd say to people out there, you really don't ever know what's going to happen with things. So if you're creative, just create and just send it out into the world and see what happens, because the weirdest things take that you wouldn't think. I mean, that was just for my own sanity doing that, and it's turned into something a bit more interesting than I initially expected. So yeah, if you want to giggle, come and have a look at that.
And you must be really chuffed with the fact that you've got a whole range of cards published through that.
Absolutely blew my little socks off when that happened last year. I've always been really insecure about the fact that I didn't go to art college or do any kind of design or anything like that. I did GCSE art and I got an A starred, so I was obviously pretty good at it, but I never really took that any further because I, for whatever reason, wasn't very confident. So when that last year happening just gave me the hugest bit of confidence, because I was like, oh wow, what I'm doing does have commercial value to somebody, and is, they want me to be involved with what they're doing. So it was hugely exciting, yeah.
And do you think that's your biggest success in your business so far?
No, I think it's one of them. I think it's a success. There's different successes. I think that is a success for Amy, feeling like a professional creative, being able to say that that's happened. That's a big success in that way, and being able to a published greetings card. That's a really nice feeling for me and for my sort of professional development. And then I'd say my huge success with Ginger Rainbow was this year when I was asked to design a set of colouring in resources for Rafa, and created the designs for their doodle boxes and their pillowcases to commemorate 10 years of Storybook Wings. And those have gone out to RAF stations all over the country. And I'm just hugely, hugely proud of that, because again, it just gives me something that I think, oh wow, like you can keep going because there is value in what you're doing, and it is, rightly or wrongly, getting feedback like that from other institutions is huge, because my mum always loves what I do, but it's really nice when people external from you do give you that reinforcement that what you're doing is good. So yeah, that was success. And lots of them, little ones, big ones, they all add up. Getting a message from a mum saying thank you for doing this, it's given me 5 minutes apiece, that feels like a success to me, because I guess my product has done its job and I'm creating something useful for people's lives. So yeah, lots, really. I could bang on about it for hours, to be honest.
So obviously you're growing and people are finding you, and you've had your work through Rafa and your storybooks Wings. Where are you going to be in 5 years' time?
Oh, who knows, right? Who knows? I'd love to see my stuff somewhere like John Lewis or something like that. That would be amazing. I also have a bit of a passion for writing, and I'd love to be a published author, writing wacky books with doodles in, developing resources for families, all sorts of things. Just bigger, better, more, everywhere.
You will be. I know you, Amy. We speak to each other far too often, and you have far too much energy and you steal it, and you have far too many good ideas that I would also like to steal. So knowing you, I'm sure you'll be everywhere.
Oh, I hope so. In a good way.
So sadly, we're almost at the end. But before we go, I always do this with my poor guests. I confront them with the quickfire questions.
Okay.
So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Right. Number one, who would you most like to hear from on the Independent Spouse podcast?
Holly Tucker and Emma Bridgewater, both hugely inspiring entrepreneurs. Obviously, Holly Tucker was one of the founders of Not on the High Street and is now doing her amazing Holly & Co. And then Emma Bridgewater of the amazing Emma Bridgewater, who's just full of so much amazing advice and wisdom and awesomeness. So I'd love to hear from those two ladies, please.
And has also grown creative businesses, which
yes,
it's hard work.
It is, right? It is no mean feat, let me tell you.
Number two, what's the best present your husband's brought you back from deployment?
I love a fridge magnet. I love a good fridge magnet, especially from a weird place. So I'd say like really odd fridge magnets are my favourite. And I've had some, chocolate coffee. That's always good. But fridge magnet for me. I'm quite simple, easy to please.
Well, we have that. I have a fridge full of magnets of places that I've never been. And I do not find it a little bit sad that we're just sort of left at home and they're off working in all these amazing sounding places.
No, I'm all right with that because I get to go, I just think we'll just go on good holidays as well. But I just like weird fridge magnets. It just makes me laugh because I just think anyone who came around your house who wasn't in the military would be like, what? That's a weird place to go on holiday.
It's true. It is true. I agree with you. Number three, if you could go back in time to when you first started, what would be the one thing that you would tell yourself?
Oh, right. Okay. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, right? So is advice. I got given some free advice right at the beginning of my business journey. And like the song, I didn't take it, which was a bit annoying. So my advice to myself would be not to spend money until you've got a plan. So I sort of, the way I started off, because I wasn't hugely clear to begin with, I did quite a lot of experimenting and bits and pieces and buying this and buying that and not being really sure where I was going. And I think that I could have saved myself a few pounds by trying to get really, really clear on what I was trying to achieve before I then started putting money into it. And I would just say, because it's my thing, I love doing it, is when you're mapping things out, if you're a visual person, try drawing it out doodling it out, because it really helps visually to see what you're doing. And that hadn't occurred to me to do that. So I just sort of floated my faffy way trying to work out how my business was going to work. And I could have saved a bit of cash. But I didn't, and it's worked out okay. But that's what I would say to myself, because, stop spending money. Don't buy stickers until you know what the stickers are for.
And that's the thing, when you've got such a creative brain and you have so many ideas and you just want to do all the things all at once, is that you do get a little bit lost and you do end up buying all of the things.
When you realise that there's companies out there that will print anything you want on anything you want, it's a bit dangerous if you've got a creative head, I think. So be warned, don't go on awesome merchandise until you've got a business plan. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's good. That's tickled me. That's got me giggling.
Because it's true. It's because it's true.
So apart from not buying everything ever that you could print on, what would be the bit of advice that you would give a military spouse who's thinking of starting a business?
So on a serious, like being really serious, I would say, if you're a creative business, don't spend time making things that people don't want, because it's just so soul destroying when you spend lots of time and energy creating a beautiful product and then nobody wants it. It's so depressing. So what I would say is just spend time getting into the head of who your customer is. Think about what would really make them happy, what would delight them, what would make their day. And when you've thought about that, then think about how what you want to make and what they need meets together, because it is all about them ultimately. And there's no point having lots of beautiful things that no one wants to buy. It definitely won't pay the bills. So I'd say that. So get to know what your customer wants. And also try lots of things is the other thing. I know you said one bit of advice, but hey, I'm going to say another one. Try lots of things. Don't get downhearted when they don't always work. Keep trying and trying other angles and different things. I've done all sorts of funny things that you won't have seen online because they were a massive disaster, frankly. But you have to keep going, and every time you do that, you learn a bit more, and it just slowly refocuses your mind on what you're trying to achieve. So don't get disheartened. Keep trying stuff, and just keep going, really.
Yeah, try the things, refine your product, and find your ideal clients.
Keep trying, and don't worry if it doesn't hit the mark every time, because it won't always. And I've done lots of things that have been a disaster, but I've just gone back to the drawing board and tried again. So just keep doing it. Just keep going, and you'll hit on the right thing eventually.
Yeah, and running a business is all about learning these things and trying stuff out. And you're right, you will get to the point where you've got an amazing product and people really love it and people want to buy it. So, Amy, Ginger Rainbow, you have amazing products.
Oh, thank you.
I do. Honestly, I love them. I love your pillowcases. I love your style. It's just so clever and so easy, and it's not messy. And the quality is really great. So if I want to buy one of your products, how can I find you?
So you can go on my website, which is www.gingerrainbow.co.uk. I remembered it. Or you can come and see me over on Facebook at grainbow1. And please, if you have had one of my products through a Rafa Storybook Wings Doodle Box, or you've had it in a deployment pack, please let me know if you liked it. Send me any pictures, any reviews, because I don't always get to hear from people. So I'd love to know how you got on. And then if you want to come and have a laugh at my scratchy doodles and have a giggle over your coffee break, if you ever get one, then come and see me on Instagram, which is at mylifescribble.
Yeah, and I love your Instagram. I always pop in there when, I'm having one of those challenging days, or I'm too busy or slightly overwhelmed and need a giggle. So everybody should head to your Instagram. Amy, I love talking to you today. It's been a proper giggle. We talk most of the time anyway, but it's been brilliant having you on the podcast. Congratulations on Ginger Rainbow. The products are so great. The feedback is brilliant, and it's a really important product for deployed families and for everybody else that picks them up. So well done.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And it's just lovely getting an opportunity to come on here. And I love it. I can't wait to see this go from strength to strength.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it and it has inspired you. Please subscribe so that you can have access to each episode as soon as it's released. And if you like what you hear, I would love it if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you found me. It really helps spread the word so that more lovely people like you can listen to the episodes. Thank you so much for listening along. I'll be back soon with another inspiring episode. See you then.